feels like everyone's jumping on the AI agent
Oh,
bandwagon.
yeah, it's really exploding right now.
It's like every day there's some new announcement.
Right.
Big names, too.
Huge.
You've got Google with Gemini.
Of course.
OpenAI's operators making a big splash.
Mm-hmm.
Anthropic's talking about their vision for AI as like a virtual collaborator.
And then you've got...
And even Reliance Industries is getting in on the action.
Oh, yeah. They're building a massive data center in India.
That's a serious commitment.
Definitely.
Clearly, somebody thinks there's a future in all this.
Yeah. It's not just hype, that's for sure.
And you're clearly trying to make sense of it all, too.
Absolutely.
You sent us a ton of stuff.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep up.
News articles, company announcements, the whole works.
It's moving so fast.
It really is. So let's dive in
Okay.
and see if we can unpack what's going on with these AI agents.
Sounds good.
First things first. What exactly are they?
So that's a good question.
How are they different from all the other AI we've been hearing about for years?
You know, like ChatGPT and all that.
Right,
I
exactly.
think the key difference is that these AI agents are designed to do more than just one thing.
Okay.
So think about a chatbot.
Like they can answer questions?
Right, or maybe generate some text.
Write a poem or something.
Yeah, but it's usually focused on that one task.
Okay.
AI agents, on the other hand, are more like multitaskers.
Multitaskers on steroids, maybe?
Exactly. They can actually perform a whole sequence of actions.
Oh, interesting.
Not just one thing, a whole series of things.
So instead of just asking ChatGPT to write me a poem, I could tell an AI agent to plan my entire vacation.
That's the idea.
And it would actually go online, book flights, reserve a hotel, maybe even find me the best restaurants.
You got it. In fact, one of the articles you sent talked about OpenAI's operator doing exactly that.
Really?
Booking an entire trip flights, hotels, dinner reservations, the whole 9 yards.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So it's not just OpenAI, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we saw some stuff about HumAI building a voice-controlled system using Anthropic's Claude.
Right, and that's what's really interesting. There are so many different approaches emerging.
Like Operator works through web interfaces,
Mm-hmm.
but HumAI is focusing on voice control.
Exactly.
So we might be interacting with these agents in all sorts of ways.
I think so.
Speaking of different ways, there's Perplexity Assistant too, right?
Oh, yeah.
The one that can use your phone's camera to answer questions about your surroundings.
Like a walking encyclopedia in your pocket.
It is, and it's using images as input, not just text.
That's right. It's what they call multimodal AI.
Multimodal.
Yeah, it means it can process different types of information.
Oh, I see.
Text, voice, images, even video, potentially.
So these agents aren't just limited to one way of understanding the world.
No, they're becoming much more versatile.
Okay, then there's Google's Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
From what we read, it can control your smart home.
Mm.
Like you could say, Gemini, dim the lights and play some jazz.
And it would actually do it.
That's kind of amazing.
It's starting to feel like science fiction, but it's real.
It is. So we've got these agents booking trips, running our homes, answering our questions, but how does it all work?
What's the magic behind the curtain?
Exactly.
Well, a lot of these systems, including OpenAI's operator, rely on something called a computer using agent.
A computer using agent.
Yeah, they call it a CUA for short.
Okay, CUA, break it down for us.
Basically, they've taught an AI to use a computer just like a person would.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So it can understand what's on the screen,
Uh-huh.
figure out how to use menus and buttons.
Yeah, and even type and click, just like you would.
So they're basically surfing the web.
In a way, yes.
Wow. And they're using these skills to do things like book flights and make dinner reservations.
Exactly.
It's kind of mind-blowing.
It is pretty wild.
If you want to learn more about this, by the way, one of the articles you sent mentioned a new short course from deeplearning.ai.
Oh, right.
It's all about Anthropic's Claude and how it can be used to build applications.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah, maybe you should check that out.
I should.
Okay, so these agents can do some pretty amazing things,
They can.
but there have to be some downsides, right?
Oh, absolutely. Any powerful technology comes with risks.
What are some of the big concerns?
Well, safety and security are at the top of the list.
I can see why.
I mean, think about it.
These agents have access to a lot of information.
And they can take actions in the real world.
Right, so there's potential for misuse.
Definitely. And OpenAI acknowledges that.
They do.
Oh, yeah. In their announcement about Operator, they talk about the potential for misuse.
Interesting.
They've even built in some safeguards to try and prevent it.
Like what kind of safeguards?
Well, for example, they delayed Operator's release in Europe because of regulatory concerns.
Wow, they actually held it back in Europe.
Mm-hmm. They're taking it seriously.
That's a good sign, at least.
I think so.
What about privacy?
That's another big one.
I mean, these agents are handling a lot of our personal information.
Absolutely, and that's where things get a bit tricky.
How so?
Well, OpenAI says they might keep chat logs and screenshots from operator for up to 90 days.
90 days?
Even if you delete them.
That's a long time.
It is, and it's even longer than ChatGPT's 30-day data retention policy.
So there are definitely some privacy concerns there.
For sure.
What about accuracy? Can we trust these agents to get things right?
That's another important consideration.
Because, sometimes AI systems can hallucinate,
Right, they can generate incorrect or even misleading information.
and that could be a problem if an agent is making decisions based on that faulty information.
Exactly. You wouldn't want your AI travel agent booking you a flight to the wrong Rome.
That's for sure. I've heard about a new feature that Anthropic is working on to address this.
Oh, yeah?
They call it Citations.
Like footnotes in a research paper.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
So their AI models can actually provide references to the source documents they use to create their responses.
So you can go back and check if the information is accurate.
Exactly, kind of like giving the AI its own fact-checking department.
That's a pretty clever approach.
I think so. But even with these safeguards, it sounds like there were still some legal challenges for these companies.
Oh, for sure.
Like one of the articles mentioned Perplexity being sued for copyright infringement.
Yeah, the legal landscape is still very much in flux.
It seems like it's not just the technology itself that's evolving rapidly, but the whole legal and ethical landscape around it.
You got it.
It's a lot to keep up with.
It really is.
Okay, we've covered what these AI agents can do, how they work, some of the challenges they face.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but I'm curious to hear your take on the bigger picture.
Okay.
Where do you see this all going in the long run?
Well, that's a great question. It is a great question. And I think it's worth taking a closer look at that potential impact you mentioned,
Okay.
especially on different industries.
Right.
Because if these AI agents can already handle things like booking trips and all that,
Mm-hmm.
what happens to the people who used to do those jobs?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
It's exciting to think about all the possibilities,
Sure.
but also a little unnerving, like
Huh.
what happens to travel agents,
Yeah.
customer service reps, data entry clerks, all those roles that could be automated.
It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And I think we have to be honest about it.
Okay.
The rise of AI agents will probably lead to some job displacement.
Meaning people will lose their jobs,
Yeah, some jobs will become obsolete.
like the ones we just mentioned.
Exactly, especially tasks that are repetitive,
Mm-hmm.
rule-based, easily automated. Those are the most vulnerable.
So it's not all sunshine and roses then?
No, but it's not necessarily all doom and gloom either.
Yeah. Okay, I'm listening.
Think about it this way. Throughout history, technological advancements have always disrupted the job market,
True.
but they've also created new jobs along the way.
Right, it's like a cycle of disruption and then innovation.
Exactly.
So maybe the key is to adapt.
I think so.
Learn new skills that complement AI agents, not compete with them,
Yeah, focus on the things that AI can't do.
like creativity,
Exactly.
critical thinking, emotional intelligence,
Yep, those are much harder to automate.
complex problem solving, all that.
Right, those are uniquely human skills.
So instead of fearing the robots, we should be focusing on what makes us human.
I like that.
Figure out how to use these AI agents as tools,
Yes,
not threats.
exactly.
Enhance our capabilities, not replace them.
That's the idea.
Kind of like using a calculator.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Instead of doing complex math in our heads,
Yeah,
we're not trying to outcalculate the machine.
right.
We're using it as a tool
Exactly.
to make our lives easier
Mhm.
and allow us to focus on bigger things.
I think that's a really good way to think about it.
So job displacement is a real concern,
Yes,
but new opportunities will emerge.
I believe so.
Okay, so that's the workplace.
Yeah,
But what about our everyday lives outside of work?
that's another interesting aspect.
Right.
We've already talked about some examples.
Controlling our smart homes,
Right.
answering questions, planning vacations.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine a future where these AI agents manage our finances,
Oh, wow.
schedule our appointments, filter our emails,
Yeah.
even help us run errands.
Like having a super efficient personal assistant?
That's the idea, available 24/7.
That sounds pretty amazing.
It does. Sign me up.
Right.
But wouldn't that make us incredibly dependent on these agents?
That's a good question.
Could they start influencing our choices,
Mm-hmm.
our behaviors in ways we don't even realize?
Those are important questions to consider.
Yeah.
Because the more we delegate to these agents,
Right.
the more we need to be aware of our own autonomy. our critical thinking skills.
Right.
We can't just become passive consumers of information.
So it's not just about what AI agents can do.
No.
It's about what we choose to let them do
Exactly.
and how we maintain control over our own lives.
Absolutely. The ethical and societal implications are huge.
It's not just a new gadget.
Right.
It's a fundamental shift.
It is a paradigm shift.
Wow. And like any major shift,
Yeah.
there are going to be challenges,
Of course.
uncertainties,
Sure.
but also, hopefully, opportunities.
Absolutely. A chance to shape this technology for the better.
So we need to be thoughtful,
Yes.
responsible,
For sure.
in how we develop and use these agents.
I agree.
Okay, let's shift gears for a minute
Okay.
and talk about the skills we'll need to thrive in this AI-powered future.
Good idea.
What should we be focusing on?
That's a crucial question, and I think there are a few key areas.
At all ears.
First, we need a basic understanding of how AI works.
Like how these agents actually think.
Not exactly think, but how they operate. Okay.
We need to look at their recommendations with a critical eye,
Mm-hmm.
understand their limitations, spot potential biases.
So a bit of AI literacy goes a long way.
Exactly, and hand in hand with that is digital literacy.
Okay.
These agents operate online,
Right.
so we need to be comfortable navigating those spaces.
Understanding how data is used, protecting our privacy, all that.
Exactly.
Those are great points.
Thanks.
But what about the human side of things? Those skills that are uniquely human.
I think those become even more important.
Really?
Yeah, I think communication,
Mm-hmm.
collaboration,
empathy.
empathy. Why is that so important? I mean, it seems like technology is all about automation and efficiency.
It is, but here's the thing.
Right.
As AI takes over more routine tasks,
Right.
the human workforce will shift towards roles that require strong interpersonal skills.
Oh, I see.
Think about fields like healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
education, social work, creative industries.
Okay.
These all rely heavily on human connection.
So while the robots are busy crunching numbers,
Right.
humans will be focusing on connecting with other humans.
In a sense, yes.
Interesting.
I believe the ability to build relationships,
Mm-hmm.
communicate effectively,
Okay.
understand and respond to human emotions,
Yeah.
those will be absolutely crucial skills.
In a world increasingly shaped by AI.
Exactly, because those are qualities that AI, at least for now, can't replicate.
So it's not just about learning to code.
No.
It's about learning to connect.
I like that. That's powerful.
It is. But let me ask you this.
Sure.
Do you ever worry about these agents becoming too powerful?
Too intelligent.
Yeah, science fiction is full of stories about robots taking over.
I understand the concern.
Right.
And it's something we need to be mindful of.
Okay.
But I don't think we're anywhere near that kind of super intelligence yet.
So no need to panic about a robot uprising just yet.
Not just yet.
Okay.
But it is important to have these conversations, to
Mhm.
think critically about the risks, and make sure we're developing AI responsibly.
Ethically.
Exactly. We need to stay ahead of the curve.
Anticipate the challenges
Right.
before they become problems.
Exactly.
So it's a balancing act.
It is.
Embrace the potential of this technology
Yeah.
while also staying aware of its limitations
Mm-hmm.
and potential downsides.
Absolutely.
And that brings us back to something we talked about earlier.
Okay.
The incredibly fast pace of development in this field.
It is moving fast.
I mean, the articles and announcements we've been discussing,
Yeah.
they're just a snapshot in time.
Right.
What's true today could be outdated tomorrow.
It's very true.
It's exciting,
It is.
but also a little overwhelming.
I know. It's a lot to keep up with.
How do we even stay informed with everything changing so quickly?
I think the key is to cultivate a mindset of continuous learning.
Continuous learning.
Yeah, embrace your curiosity.
Okay.
Explore new resources.
hmm
Don't be afraid to dive into the unknown.
So basically, never stop learning.
Exactly. The more you learn, the better equipped you'll be.
Stay curious, keep learning. I like that.
It's good advice.
It is. But before we move on,
Yeah.
is there anything else you think our listeners should be thinking about?
As they explore this world of AI agents,
Exactly.
I'd say approach all information with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Skepticism.
Yeah, whether it comes from an AI agent or a human being.
Oh, interesting.
Ask questions. Don't take things at face value.
Mm-hmm.
Think critically about the information you encounter.
That's good advice for anything, really.
It is, especially today.
Yeah, we're bombarded with information from all sides.
We are, so discernment is key.
Absolutely. The ability to filter.
Mm.
Analyze, evaluate information. It's essential.
I agree. It's not enough to just absorb information anymore.
Right.
We need to be able to critically assess it.
Its validity, its relevance.
Exactly.
This has been incredibly insightful.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
You've given us so much to think about.
I hope so.
But I think the most important takeaway is this.
Okay.
This conversation is just beginning.
Oh, absolutely.
We're only scratching the surface of what AI agents can do
Right.
and what they mean for our future.
It's a rapidly evolving field,
It is.
and we all have a role to play in shaping it.
Welcome back. It's been quite a journey exploring this whole world of AI agents.
It has, hasn't it?
What they are, what they can do, the good, the bad, and the potentially really weird.
And the future, right.
Exactly. And that's what I want to touch on as we wrap up this deep dive.
Sounds good.
We've only scratched the surface of their potential, right?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, we've seen them book trips, control homes, summarize documents.
Things we used to think only humans could do.
Exactly. So where do we go from here?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is. What happens when these agents become even more sophisticated?
Even more integrated into our lives.
Could we see AI agents negotiating contracts?
Writing novels, maybe even composing symphonies.
That's mind-blowing to think about.
It is.
What would it mean for us, for humanity, if we had agents capable of those things?
Would we become completely reliant on them?
Would we even need to work anymore?
Or create?
Those are big questions.
They are.
Ones we need to be asking ourselves right now.
Before it's too late.
Because it's not enough to just focus on what this technology can do.
We have to consider the impact.
On society, our values.
Even our understanding of what it means to be human.
It's almost like a philosophical question now, isn't it?
It is.
We're creating a new form of intelligence.
And we have to figure out how to coexist with it.
In a way that benefits everyone.
It's a challenge.
Unlike any we faced before.
But also an opportunity.
Maybe even a remarkable one.
Think about it.
If we approach this thoughtfully, ethically, carefully.
These AI agents could help us solve some of our biggest problems.
So it's not about fearing the future.
It's about shaping it.
We need to be participants, not just bystanders.
Active participants.
Informed, engaged, advocating for responsible development.
Development that aligns with our values.
Our aspirations for the future.
This has been a great conversation.
It really has. You've given us a lot to think about.
And remember,
This is just the beginning.
the world of AI is constantly evolving.
We all have a role to play in shaping its future.
To our listener, keep exploring.
The sources we talked about today are just a starting point.
There's so much more out there.
New developments are happening all the time.
Sit curious
Stay informed.
and stay engaged.
The future of AI is in our hands.
Let's make it a good one.